So this is the Google Pixel Fold, and I've had this phone for about 1 day. Now, quick disclosure, Google did send this out as a hashtag gift from Google, hashtag Team Pixel. I do have to disclose that to let you know right away. I'm actually not required to say anything though in this review, so everything you see in this content will be on my own. So let's get unfolding. Now, I was too excited already to open this baby up because this is one of the most exciting products that I have seen come out in the phone game in a while. Now, the Z Fold is awesome, but this is something different. We're going to show you what it looks like. Again, I've already opened it up, but this is what comes in the case. You'll see we do have the Obsidian colorway. This is basically a matte black with like gray texture. But let's take a look at the Google Pixel Fold, and you can see right away just a beautifully premium design. The classic camera bar that you expect from Google, the G logo right there. And this foldable phone folds completely flat. Just look at it, completely flat. You can see SIM card tray right there. This is not fully eSIM, USB-C, microphone holes, and then we have a speaker grill there. We do have a punch hole camera, and we do have ourselves more speaker up here, 5G bar, and more microphone hole. Now you'll see a triple camera setup. We'll get into the specs later, but overall, man, I gotta tell you, the first thing you're gonna notice right away is just how premium this feels. Now, other foldable phones also do give you warnings in the box, and Google is no different, telling you that flexible OLEDs are softer than the traditional phone screens you're gonna find on the market. So don't get your fingernails in there and just doing all this. You might mess up the screen, sharp objects, things like that. And do not, like the original Z Fold that came out years ago, do not remove that pre-installed screen protector. You might damage your Pixel Fold. So you can see right here, we do have a USB-C to USB-C, and then we have an adapter right there to transfer data. You'll see minimal packaging, nothing too serious in here. But overall, that's about it. Let's go ahead and get into more impressions. All right, guys, so in this video, I'm not really gonna go into all the specifications. I wanna give you a real, experience, what I've been feeling about this so far. I'm really excited if you can't tell, but definitely I've been really digging this on day one already. So the first thing I gotta say is this is one of the most exciting phones that I've seen in years, and mostly because a lot of things that Google did here is what I've been hoping for on some other foldables out there, like a more usable front cover screen. Now, this front cover screen is around 5.8 inches, and it does have a little bit of an odd aspect ratio. Again, I'm not going to say the exact spec in this video, but if you know it by heart, comment it down below. But it gives you it's not the tallest screen out there, and it feels quite pocketable, but it's got a nice width to it that really makes it usable. Like a lot more usable. Like you could use this phone all day without ever opening the inner display, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. Now, the body I'm also digging, because the body of this phone feels incredibly premium, and the phone folds in completely flat, like completely flat right here. And you'll see right there, just no gaps, nothing like that. So that's quite nice as well. Now also, I like how this matte textured back is, feeling just like other premium flagships out there, but you also have this really high quality aluminum here on the edges. It's just really, really nice. Now also right here, an embedded fingerprint sensor, which I've talked about on my channel before, that I really, really love, because embedded fingerprint sensors do give you a very tactile feel that is basically perfect when it comes to accuracy. So it's a hardware-based fingerprint sensor. Now, while that might feel kind of old at this point because you have in displays, I really do like this. It's right in the right location, really usable. And then right here, you do have a volume rocker. So that's in a really good location as well. Unlike a lot of other phones where you got to reach all the way up to the top, this one just sits in a nice area, and I think a lot of people are going to like this. Now, the first thing I thought about when I seen this phone was this smartphone, this Google Pixel Fold. This is definitely a foldable that the mainstream consumer, when they pick it up, they're going to be probably pretty impressed, because it's a much more traditional look. It's got a little, again, a weird aspect ratio, but it's a much more traditional look and feel on that front display because it's a lot more usable and stuff like that. So definitely beautiful there. Let's go ahead now and open it up because this is probably what you've been waiting for if you want to see that inner display. Now, first thing I noticed right away, again, there is bezels on here. Now, it doesn't really bother me too much because this is the first generation Pixel Fold, and also tablets have bezels like this on Android and Apple tablets, so it doesn't really bother me too much. Also, this is a wider aspect ratio than what's found on the Samsung competitor, and so what that means is that you have a much better split screen experience. Wider application over here, or wider display, means that the app is actually wider on both sides. So it's a really great split screen application experience here on the Google Pixel Fold. I also want to mention that my first impressions on this after a day of using it is the inner display definitely feels like the plastic OLED that I'm used to from other foldables, in that it feels delicate. So be careful with this. Don't take this to the beach. Don't be rough and aggressive when you got this thing open, because it definitely feels a little bit more delicate than that outer screen. Also, they do have a pretty solid hinge on here. It feels really strong, so I don't think there's going to be a problem. But I have noticed that it's a little harder to open this phone because it closes completely flat. You'll get used to it. It's no big deal. But it feels very satisfying when it closes. Now on this obsidian color, I am finding that fingerprints are getting picked up a little bit more just because of the color. It just shows fingerprints. So you're gonna get that pretty much right away. But I also found that putting a screen protector, which I've already done, was incredibly simple because you have a flat display on the front. So no curve, nothing like that. Really good. Also, I gotta say that when this display is opened up, if you go ahead and take this thing into a portrait orientation, the display on the Pixel Fold actually feels quite tall and quite usable as well. So I kind of like it in this angle also. It's kind of usable here as well. So not bad to use it in the portrait orientation if you want. That's pretty cool. But yeah, the software itself is basically the pure Google Pixel experience. Of course, with the G2, we are looking at a more AI-based processor, so it's not really your top-of-the-line speed demon beast processor like some of the other ones out there. But I do think as Google continues to invest in this line, we will see faster chips in the future. But for now, it's still been flying along just fine. And the majority of people won't notice much because of the optimizations of hardware and software that Google employs on here. In addition, you do have adaptive refresh rates on here that really make this phone fly along, changing between 120 Hertz on both the front and the inner display. So you have basically a 120 Hertz inner display tablet, which I would say arguably feels like a little Pixel tablet on the inside. And then you have a 120 Hertz display on the front. So pretty darn smooth right here. So it just feels like a regular Pixel phone on the front. Then when you open it up, it feels like a little Pixel tablet. Now, one of the best things about this is that most of the Google applications, which you're probably going to definitely use a lot, are fully optimized pretty well for this screen. So Google made sure that all of their applications are pretty well optimized. One of the issues, though, is that some third-party applications aren't fully optimized. So if you are looking for, the best experience there, not always going to be the case. But if you're reading Google News or anything like that, you're definitely going to see a very well-tuned version. Also, you can pull up here from the dock to go ahead and grab some applications like this, but it's a pretty simple, minimalistic experience. It's not like you can put like apps here, and I don't think that's what Google's going for. And I quite like this more minimal feel, because with the overwhelming experiences of like too much going on these days with all these computers and phones, having something that has more of a simplistic, minimalistic feel, I'm kind of digging that. I really am. But some people are going to want a little bit more features, customizations, may not like the vanilla experience, but for me, I definitely enjoy it. And I gotta say, I turned on the flashlight. I gotta say that not having a stylus doesn't really matter to me too much on the Pixel Fold because of the way the software is set up. We don't really have a dedicated, drawing application or anything like that. So I don't really see a usage or need for it right now. I just kind of think of this as a Pixel tablet phone combined thing in one. That's kind of how I'm feeling. And that's deeply what I think about this so far, besides the fact that you're reminded this is not fully a tablet when you do open up those applications that aren't fully optimized just yet. Now, my thoughts on the display quality: we do have OLED displays on, again, the cover display and the inner display. So you're getting top tier there. It's not the brightest displays on the market, but they get plenty bright. The cover screen actually gets a little brighter, over 1500 nits of brightness in sunlight. That's pretty good. So that's nice there. And then the inner display, not quite as bright, but still good. Also, I did want to mention that I noticed that because there is bezels, the camera does sit within the bezels here, not underneath display, nothing like that. And when you hit the camera here, it does have the ability to switch over to the camera on the front to use it as like a selfie screen. So if we go ahead and click this, you will be able to click this right here and it will switch screens for you. So you can go ahead and use the main cameras to take a selfie. I'm gonna go ahead and take a quick one right here. And you'll see that because you're using the rear camera setup over here, you are gonna get yourself a sharper photo of yourself or of the people you're with. So that's pretty cool. I also wanted to mention something I'm not really digging so far, and I think Google will address this maybe as they refine this product in the future, but it's still a really good first attempt, is the phone when you first open it, it's not fully flush. So I'm finding myself bending it just slightly, very carefully to make it fully flat. And then when you put it there on the table, there is some rockage. Did I just make that up? I don't even know if that's a word, rockage. There is some rocking around. Not a big deal. I'm not going to have it on the table too much. As a matter of fact, I probably will prop it up like this when watching a YouTube video, make it like a little tablet or something like that. Read the comments on the bottom. You know the drill. That's probably what I'll probably do with this phone. But I just wanted to mention that. The first thing when I unfold is like, is this like a book or something? Because it was kind of like not fully flush. So I want to see that addressed a little bit. Just make it feel a little more flatter. If we can refine it just a little bit more to just feel more flat when we go ahead and open it up. Now, going a little bit deeper into the software, we are looking at several years of updates here, and essentially all of the Google experience you come to know and love from phones like the Google Pixel 7 Pro and phones like the Google Pixel 7a and even the 7. It's just the Pixel experience. That's what it is. And if you've used those phones or tried them out, you're going to be right at home here. There's essentially no differences really whatsoever. It's literally got almost all the same features, but just optimizes certain applications to work with this, tablet inner display right here. So that's essentially what you can expect. So if you love the Pixel experience and you want to try a foldable, you don't even got to think twice. Just pick one up. You're going to enjoy this product right here for sure. Now, when it comes to the battery life, it's a little spotty right now. I will report back when I had this phone for a little bit longer, but definitely I've been charging it a couple times today already, and it definitely has been draining kind of fast, but I have been using it a lot. So let it do its thing, let it do its adaptive battery preferences, figure out my usage, and I'll report back to you soon on that. I also do want to report that the first day of usage, again, setting up all my apps, this might be why, but my Pixel 7 Pro also gets it gets a little warm here, just right here. It's nothing too hot, but definitely gets a little warmer than I would like. So if you're watching this, Google, I would love to see improvements to cooling on this phone. That would be maybe one of the best improvements we can make to the overall experience. Just want to see a little bit better cooling on this phone, as well as the Pixel 7 Pro. Now, let's talk about the cameras. Again, I'm not going into specs in this video. All you need to know is that there's 3 of them there. And we do have essentially the features you're going to find on other Pixel products. Now, I actually have already used it, but you can see you can go 2x, you can go 5x. And again, this is the computational photography. So you will have all of the processing that will give you amazing results without actually having to know what you're doing. I really like that. Down here, you got different video modes. If we go over here to modes, you got panoramic, photosphere, and lenses. Portrait, we have long exposure shots right here, so you can go ahead and do that. Again, night sight. Now, again, I'm not going to go into everything right here on the camera. I'm going to do that in the full review. But again, if you go over here to video, there are capabilities up to 4K 60 video, which is going to be plenty enough for most people. I actually have took some shots, so let's go ahead and unfold this phone and take a look at some of those photos now. All right, so here's some of my shots. Now, I know you might be thinking, why don't you just put them on screen? Because I want to talk about them while we're looking at them here. So you can see right here, really good, what you would expect. I feel like cameras are getting a little bit to the point where like there's only minor differences between most smartphone cameras that you really got to go like this and be like, okay, I could see a little bit of noise right there. Now this Pixel camera reminds me a lot of the 7A, not the 7 Pro. So the 7 Pro to me is a little bit better with the results, but I do got to tell you that this is really good for a foldable. Like, I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all. It definitely feels flagship. I feel like if you go ahead and compare this to like a 7 Pro, you would actually have to zoom in, look closely to see the differences. When you do take photos, like I was walking and I took this too fast, it didn't get a chance to really process it very well. So that's why you can see there's not a ton of detail in the flowers right there, but definitely, you know, it takes what you would expect from a Pixel camera, really good shots. So you're not going to be disappointed here. And for the price of this phone, I definitely think they did a pretty darn good job with the cameras. But again, if they could bring even more flagship camera, like the one that will probably be in the Pixel 8 Pro to the next fold, that would be an amazing improvement on the second generation. So yeah, you can see even the selfie camera is not bad on here. Overall, solid results for a foldable smartphone. I definitely feel like it's very similar to what we find on the Google Pixel 7a. So not bad whatsoever here for the Pixel Fold on my first day already. And when taking a look at video, you could see it's a lot bigger when watching content here. There is black bars. If you do pitch in because of this aspect ratio, you are going to cut off a lot of content, but it's still a very large, enjoyable video to watch here. And again, if you go ahead and place it like this on a table, you can actually read comments down here while you're watching the video. So in that portrait orientation. So that's pretty neat. I really like that. I could see people, you know, watching the video while eating breakfast or something and going ahead and doing that. But I wanted to mention that the audio is not super loud
because of the price of this phone. But keep in mind, there are phones out there that probably have a little bit more premium looking designs at this price point.
I've heard louder speakers, so I think Google can improve the speaker quality, make it just a little bit louder on the next foldable Pixel device. But, you know, they're not horrible. They're just not top of the line loudest speakers I've heard on a smartphone, and it's noticeable by comparison to premium smartphones out there. But the phone call quality reception has been pretty solid so far. I'm not going to say it's the best out there because I haven't had a chance to compare it to other smartphones just yet, but I've had great signal strength so far and no real issues. Again, the speaker not being the loudest means that your speakerphone calls are not going to be the loudest out there. Again, when I say the loudest, I'm talking about in comparison to even other Pixel phones like the 7 Pro. It's just not the loudest speakers I've seen out there. All right, so we're getting close to the end of this video, but just wanted to mention a few more things. You'll see right here, I turn on the flash again. You'll see right here, we do have the hinge. You can see the stuff where the hinge connects. I think that looks a little bit unrefined. So this definitely lets me know this is a first gen product. You can see the hinge attachments. I don't really like that. I would like to see a little bit of refinements there. And also I wanted to go ahead and show you how this phone, the crease looks on this phone, because there is a crease. At this point, you just kind of got to expect a crease with flexible OLEDs. Now that's in that orientation, but when you look at it head on, you don't really see it too much. And it doesn't feel any really that different from other foldables out there, so it's not really an issue. I actually feel like it's not as noticeable as the one you'll find on the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4 when it's fully flat. So definitely they did a pretty good job with that. It's not a major deal, but again, you have to deal with that with foldables. Now, the Pixel Fold to me has more of a luxe feel closer to the Pixel 7 Pro than any of the cheaper Pixels. Maybe even more than that. Now I want to show you the thickness of this phone. A little bit thicker than the Pixel 7 Pro, but take a look at this. When you put a case on a smartphone like a Pixel 7 Pro, it's nearly as thick as this phone. So this is one of the more enjoyable, you know, phones to hold in its class. That's what I've been thinking all day so far. If I'm being totally honest with you, my first day with this phone, I have been blown away with this first attempt, and I look at it as a first attempt. I'm blown away by the fact that this is their first try. I feel like they knocked it out of the park for their first try. This is really exciting for what's to come for the future of Pixel Fold. And I think that actually, when I first saw the price, I was like, whoa. But when you really break this down, let's talk about this real quick. This might actually be worth the price. First of all, this phone has a very usable day-to-day front screen. It doesn't feel very beta. It feels like a Pixel smartphone you're used to. If you never open it up, this is the Pixel experience you're used to. Now that alone right there, with this premium body, with this premium camera setup, that's about an $800 to $1,000 price tag right there. Let's go ahead and add the inner display. Now you're looking at a tablet here. Over 7 inches, like 7.6 inches OLED in here. That's a $400 tablet right there. So we add $1,400, we're at $1,400. Now you got the Pixel camera experience, right here, giving you, computational photography, 4K 60, good stuff there. That's a couple $100 right there in value. So now we're up there around $1,600 in value. So I think they're slightly too high. But at the same time, with everything that's going on with this phone being the same price as some competitors, you're getting a more minimalistic Google experience with fast updates, the G2 with the AI system and all that. It's tough to say no once you actually try this phone out. So my thing is, if I was you, I would consider trading in one of my smartphones, getting a massive discount on this baby, and going for it, trying it out. I think you're going to enjoy it if you love foldable tech. Now, if you don't, and you want to wait for a more refined product, I think in the future, the Pixel Fold is going to be more optimized with applications. I do think we're going to see refinements to the body, refinements to the overall quality of this, and better cameras, of course, probably longer battery life, and even a faster chip. So if that's you and you want to wait for that stuff, go for it. But if you're excited to try out something new and very different, this is one of the most different feeling phones that I've tried since the original Z Fold that I tried years ago. So I love it. I really do love it so far. That's my first day experience, but I have so much more to share with you with this phone. So be subscribed to see my full review where we talk the specs, the details. We dive deeper into this phone. Most of this was subjective. Stay tuned for the full review and some comparisons as well. We're going to compare this to some of the heat out there, some of the best in the business. Thank you very much, Google, for sending this out. Hashtag gift from Google, hashtag Team Pixel. And thank you all very much for watching. You guys make this possible. I love you all. Subscribe if you haven't already. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.